right, everyone. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. Fifth grade. Today, we're going to be talking about food chains and food webs. What are we going to be talking about?
Food chains and food webs.
Everybody look up here. Food chains and food webs is our fifth standard of this year, okay? So we're going to be looking at L53. Everybody say L53?
L53.
We're going to break that standard down and go over that in just a minute, but I want you to listen to me, okay? Before you leave me this week, that standard says that students will demonstrate an understanding of a healthy ecosystem with a stable web of life and the roles of living things within a food chain or food web, including producers, consumers, and decomposers. Y'all ready?
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to watch a little video on food chains and food webs. And I want you to really pay attention because I might ask you some questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's watch this video. They just said when you combine multiple food chains, what is that called? A food what?
Web.
A what? So a food web is the same thing as a food chain. It's just a bunch of them put what?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure you listen.
Consumers and decomposers. Plants make up the bulk of the world's producers. They are able to make their own food using photosynthesis, a process that harnesses the energy of the sun.
Plants
Producers
are
are the largest part of any
Remember that.
food web, and you can find them at the bottom of all food chains. Organisms that eat other living organisms are called consumers. They can't make their own nourishment from sunlight, so they get it by eating the producers. Humans are consumers, as well as birds and cows and millions of other species. Primary consumers eat the producers. Animals that eat plants are examples of primary consumers, and they're also called herbivores. Secondary consumers are the organisms that eat the primary consumers. These are carnivores, or meat eaters. Some animals, like humans, are called omnivores because they eat both meat and plants. There are other kinds of consumers too. Parasites are small organisms that live on the bodies of other organisms, using up the victim's energy. Scavengers eat the carcasses of other dead animals. Decomposers are mostly bacteria and fungi. Decomposers cause the mold that grows on your bread, but they also do all sorts of good stuff like breaking down dead animals and plants into reusable elements and recycling nutrients back into the food web. Humans have to be more careful to protect every species in the world. Just about every species on the planet, no matter how insignificant it seems, is vital to the food web. If even the smallest plant or animal becomes extinct, the consequences will ripple throughout the food web, causing environmental chaos for every species concerned, including us. It's hard to predict exactly what will happen, but one thing's for sure. I don't want to be around if that bear doesn't get his dinner.
All right, thank y'all. So, that was a fun little video, right?
Yeah.
All right, we learned about food chains, we talked about food webs, they talked about producers. What did they tell you are producers? Remember I yelled it to you? What's a producer?
Plants.
Plants are producers because they make their own what?
Food.
Food. I'm just making sure, seeing if you're listening. All right, everybody look over here. This is going to be a lot of information. I'm going to walk it through, okay?
Okay.
All right, so that standard says students will demonstrate. Does anybody know what demonstrate means? If I'm demonstrating something to you, I'm what?
You show it.
All right, thank you. So demonstrate means to what?
Show
To show. Everybody tell them good job.
it. Good job.
All right, so that means you have to show an understanding of a healthy ecosystem. When they say ecosystem, they're just talking about the food chains and the what? Food web. All right. So, we're talking about the role of living things within a food chain, and y'all told me what that was, and y'all said that the food web was that food chains just multiplied. So more than one food chain means it's a what? Food web. Good job. So including producers, y'all told me that producers were the plants, and then consumers. So if the plants are producers and they produce or they make their own food, what's a consumer?
A fish.
Can be a fish. What else?
A bear or a lion.
All right, so that just means that the consumer has to eat, right? They have to eat their energy. Are we consumers? Yes. Do we make our own food?
Yes.
Well, yeah, you can cook, but can you go outside and stand in the sun and get full?
No.
No, you got to what? Eat. All right, so that makes you a consumer, right?
Yes.
So in the food chain, I have my producer first, my consumer is second, and my decomposer is third. All right, so let me put it into perspective for you. All right. All right. So y'all said that the producers was a plant, right?
Yes.
Somebody give me a plant. Give me an example.
Flower.
Flowers, okay? So this is my food chain, all right? That y'all are making. Y'all told me that my producer is the what? Flower.
Rose.
So now I need a consumer. What eats the flower? Give me something that eats flower.
Bear.
Deer. All right. All right. So y'all told me that the producer was the flower. The deer eats the flower, so that makes him a consumer, right?
Yes.
So now I need a decomposer. What's gonna eat this deer?
A lion.
A lion could eat a deer. All right, so check this out. Listen at this. When I say decompose, that means to break down, okay? And this may be a lot for y'all, but I'm gonna teach it to you, okay? When the deer dies, and the deer, if it's a deer on the side of the road, what happens to him? A car hit it, but it's dead. So now some worms gonna grow inside of it, and it's gonna what? Decompose and break it down. So the worms are in there. All right. So we're gonna call the worms and the maggots the decomposers. Now that's my food chain, okay?
Yes, sir.
But if I add in, what else eats a deer?
A bear. A lion. We are saying lion.
So the bear. What else eats them?
A lion. A tiger.
What about y'all? Do y'all eat deer? And we are humans, right? All right, so check this out. What else eats flowers?
Bees.
Bees.
Cow.
What?
Cow.
Cows. Cows do eat flowers sometimes.
Horses.
All right. So he told us, listen, he told us that cows eat flowers too. So we know that the cows eat the flowers and the deer eat the flowers. What else eats cows?
Horses.
Do horses eat cows?
No. Lions. People.
Humans eat cows. Don't y'all like burgers?
Yes.
All right. So now, let's look at it again. Now I got my producer, that's number one, my consumer, and my decomposer, right? But I also have my producer, I got a consumer here, and I got a consumer there, right?
Yes.
So that's a food chain. This is a food chain. This is a food chain. And this is a food chain. So now that I have multiple food chains put together, what is this now called?
A food
A food web. Good job. All right. Now that we've talked about that, everybody look at me. Follow me up here. All right. So what we're going to do now is I want you guys to come up with your own food chains. And we're going to do a think, pair, share. I'm going to explain this to you, okay? So it says think, pair, share. On the thinking part, I want you to create your own food chain. Be sure to include at least 3 to 5 organisms in your food chain and think outside of the box. Anything is possible as long as you can explain it. On the pairing part, I want you to collect